Welcome to today's talk, and for those of you who are watching me for the first time, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to take you through a case which was a revision case. Everything you need to see in a revision case you will see in this one case. Now, why do people fall for such hair transplants? And this is not one or two people, but a large number of people are falling for false promises at the hands of clinics which are amateurs, fly-by-night operators, and this is leading to a ballooning of failed hair transplant cases that are very difficult to repair. So when you're doing your research, besides your wisdom, besides your sixth sense, there are several other factors that affect your choice of a clinic. It's your colleagues, your friends, your relatives, and one cannot ignore the lure of cheap hair transplant. When a person is offered a cheap hair transplant, it is very easy for people to fall prey. Cheap hair transplants are the single commonest motivator to fall prey to bad hair transplants. But you are not alone. You can take solace from the fact that large number of patients today are reporting with bad hair transplants needing repair. And across the board, all over the world, it's not only limited to say Turkey or any other country which you want to specify or single out. It is all over the world. It is there in the United States. It is there in Japan. It is there in the European countries. It is there in UK. Bad hair transplants are omnipresent because it is basic human nature to fall prey to aggressive marketing and to cheap hair transplants. So bad hair transplants are here to stay. They are not going to vanish very soon. They will continue to happen as hair transplant becomes more and more acceptable. As it becomes more and more prevalent, bad hair transplants will continue to increase because many clinics which throw caution to the wind will continue to make money by offering cheap hair transplants to you. And that is where the problem arises. So in this young man, about 32 years old, he received a hair transplant for his hairline a few years back at another clinic. And you can see in his picture, you can see the hairline is sparsely populated. There are more singles than doubles and triples, and whatever amount are in doubles and triples are along the leading edge of the hairline, making it look very unnatural and straight. It's not a pleasing hairline. And now when he's lost more hair, the planted hairline of before is looking much more out of place than it otherwise would have looked. So you can see sparse density, number one. Number two, mal-aligned grafts. That is, the angle of the graft is not matching with the contour of the skull and the grafts are mal-positioned. Also, the temples are brought far too forward and they do not match the hairline. So the hairline is poorly designed, and when we shave the scalp donor, you can see that a large punch size has been used and the scars are coalescing, and there is over-harvesting of grafts for the amount that have been planted, which is about 1800 grafts. So in this patient, the leading edge of grafts were removed and density was added along the remaining areas of the balding, which has since progressed since the time of his previous procedure. The grafts along the temples, which were malaligned, were also removed along the leading edges, and the remaining grafts were disguised by filling up the temple with a lot of grafts. So I used about 1800 grafts in total to repair this patient. When you're talking about extraction of previously implanted grafts, you have to keep in mind very important points. 20% of the hair along the hairline which have been planted are in the dormant phase. So it is not possible to remove 100% of planted hair. This has to be told to the patient because FUE, being a blind procedure, is not a perfect hair removal procedure like, say for instance, a laser. A laser will remove 100% hair over few sittings, but an FUE cannot claim to remove all the hair that have been implanted. FUE is a blind procedure. Moreover, unlike in virgin skin, in the best of instances, while harvesting grafts, the transaction rate is about 2%, and that is in virgin skin. When we are removing hair from previously planted areas, we are dealing with scars. The scar, however minute, still engulfs the planted hair, and it makes it change its orientation a wee bit. Its linear orientation gets distorted. And when the linear orientation of the planted graft gets distorted, a punch being linear in nature will transect it. So the best of clinics, while extracting previously planted hair, will have a transaction rate of about 10%. So that means 20% of hair which are in the resting phase and about 10% of hair which have been transected. Total 30% will need a subsequent procedure to be dealt with. It's only after 6 months that you can again approach that area and deal with these 30% grafts. So this has to be explained to the patient that FUE is not a panacea, perfect graft removal after a previously done bad hair transplant. So So these are the limitations of FUE. So once the patient knows, he will be aware and he will not be disgruntled when further malaligned grafts crop up. The patient education before a procedure is must.
It's looking better now. The only thing which remains is the density now. Last couple of times I came here, I've already gone through 2 procedures, and this is my final procedures as for Dr. Bhatti, and I hope, fingers crossed, I don't need anything else after this. Other than that, it's been good experience with Dr. Bhatti, and it's all good. It's coming good now. I'm feeling confident, better than before. Yeah. Thank you.
So this shows that a hair transplant, if done properly in virgin areas, is a one-time procedure for that area. However, if a hair transplant goes wrong, if you fall for a bad hair transplant, you have a failed hair transplant, sorting that failed hair transplant, revising that failed hair transplant is going to be a long drawn out process. At least 12 to 18 months will elapse before you can see a result. So in this patient, you can see the result of the revision and further addition of grafts after about 9 months. But along the temple, if you watch, there are still grafts which are malaligned, maloriented, which need to be corrected. And that's what he's come for. So there are 2 take-home messages from this talk that I want to put forth to you before you start the journey of hair transplant research. Number 1 is that you have to know that your grafts in the donor area are finite in number. They are fixed in number. Number 2, what is a misconception? Donor hair do not grow back. So if you lose grafts in the first procedure or subsequent procedures as well, you tend to lose more grafts in the first procedure because that is the time when you have not done your research, and by the time you come to your second procedure, there is ample research that most people have done. So in the second procedure, usually you do not waste too many grafts. It's always in the first procedure that you've been fooled or you've been tricked or you've been conned into a hair transplant. So these grafts do not grow back. They are a waste forever. The second lesson or the second take-home message from this talk that I wish you to take home is that yes, you should seek an affordable hair transplant. That is your right. Everybody can't afford a very expensive hair transplant. So you are at free will to choose an affordable hair transplant. But cheap hair transplants have a great risk. They put your future objectives, your present objectives into great risk. So do not fall prey for exaggerated advertisements, exaggerated claims, making false claims and promises. For cheap hair transplants are exactly what they are. They are cheap. So that's a word of caution. Go for affordable hair transplants, but do not go for cheap hair transplants because you get in hair transplant what you pay for, like in any other field. So stay safe, all the best, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I will request you to do so. That is the only thing that encourages me to bring more and more information to you so that you can benefit by it. Thank you for watching.